We're on. Kind of sleep. Oh, you trying to play Pokemon Go? Can you make some room for me? All right, guys. So I guess I'm the moderator, huh?
I guess you are. I guess you can ask the first question.
Well, I was looking on the internet of like good questions to ask and stuff like that, and I think some of them were just like remembering childhood and talking about whatever you do remember.
Yeah, I remember that. I was a fiend for making kites. When I was young, in teens,
Yeah.
I never bought a kite. I always made my own kites. And there was a hardware store that sold sticks that they got from a lumber yard. You'd buy a bundle of sticks, they called them kite sticks.
Mm.
And that's what I used for my, and I fell over a fire plug one time running with a kite.
I bet that hurt.
Maybe I got the clumsiness from you, like when I backed off the dock and fell in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I was running down the street trying to raise a kite and I fell over the fire plug. I never did forget that.
Right.
Yeah.
And where did you go to grade school?
Fravel grade school.
Okay.
Yeah. And went through there, 8th grade there.
And then after that?
After that, I went to Roosevelt High School. And I was at Roosevelt High School 4 years. And after that, I went to Hadley, wasn't it? Hadley Vocational School. And in 1937, I think it was. I'm not sure about the year. I quit school anyhow. I quit Hadley to get a job because my father was out of work. The gas company was unionizing them, and they was out on strike at the gas company for 3 months. So that takes care of that.
And that's where your father worked at that time, was
Yeah.
the gas company?
Yeah, he worked at the gas company 41 years,
Okay.
and he retired in 51.
So he worked at the gas company, as did you, right?
After me?
You did too, right? Your whole life?
No,
At the gas company?
I didn't work at the gas company my whole life. When when the war broke out, why, they converted the auto place into making trucks for Army.
Hmm.
And in the meantime, I went to work at the small arms where they made 30 and 50 caliber ammunition. That was in North County. And I worked there until they got the truck line going over at General Motors, and then I transferred over to General Motors and worked on Army trucks. And I was on Army trucks for about a year, and they got a sign, they put up a sign on the bulletin board, anybody who wants to learn how to weld, sign this sheet, so I signed it. So then they were getting the so-called ducks, those amphibian truck and water, they got the contract for them, and that's why we was learning to be welders, because the whole thing was all welded together. And they had a bunch of welders. And I worked on every one of them that was made. I was on the first where they started. There was 4 pieces for a side, and you welded them 4 pieces together. Then they had another jig, as we call them, for the other side, and that's how they started them out. And then they moved on and welded the floors to them, and just kept going. And we turned out 13 ducks a day at the General Motors. years.
What did they use those for? Was this in World
They
War
put
II?
the troops off of a ship into the duck, and it would work in water. It took them to the beach, and then when they got on the beach, they had a central air compressor on them. They could put the amount of air in the tires for going on the beach and going on hard surface. They could adjust the air in the tires for the.
Do you know if any of those were used?
They're still being used in Branson.
Well, yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's at what, Silver Dollar City?
Yeah, down in, well, the area, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Matthew, if that pillow is uncomfortable, throw it on the floor.
So those ducks, did they use those, for instance, like on D-Day when they invaded Normandy?
Yeah, they used things like that. That's what they were made for.
Right.
To take troops. They could put about 40 of them in a duck
Wow.
off of a ship and take them into the beach.
Right.
And then when they got them on the beach, naturally they had them. They was being fired at there.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what they're really called?
Yeah.
Well, I think their nicknames are ducks.
They call them a duck because they could float in water, or they can.
Yeah.
You got an automobile then when you get on land.
Yeah.
But they use them at these places like Branson,
Right.
and they have them in other cities, I'm sure. Just think how old they are. They were building from about 43 to 45.
Are you done?
Sorry.
Have they got a picture of them?
I'm trying to look and see. Yeah, I think this is it. Well, let's find out if this is truly it. Well, the boys are laughing because when I was typing in to look up World War II ducks, I accidentally wrote dick. So they're laughing. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So you made
see, I worked on the right side
those.
there.
Oh, here, hold on.
I worked on this side. They were in 4 pieces, and we welded them together.
Right.
And then it just, like automobiles, it just went down the line until they got down to the finish part.
Huh. I wonder if that'll even show on there. Yeah, it does. So that's old duck. Pretty cool. You guys want to see? How big are those? Did you make the munitions you said, the 30 and 50 caliber?
I worked on 30 caliber.
How big is that?
They-
Like,
No, they're just, that's what they put in rifles.
oh, okay.
30 caliber is in rifles.
Gotcha.
And they made 50, but I was in the part of the place where they made 30.
Huh.
Yeah. And General Motors also had a plant in on Goodfellow, and they made 105 millimeter shells there.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was it's basically all of the private sector, like making cars and all that stuff. They just stopped. Everything was to
they
support the war,
stopped
right?
as soon as the war started.
Sure.
They had to convert the plant over, and it takes a lot of time to get all them parts together
I'm sure.
and make them. I think we turned out about 45 trucks an hour there. You know, when they made the Army trucks.
Wow. What was?
Okay.
What was?
When they stopped making the cars for private, didn't you own a car before that? And then what's the story about your car that then you traded for the first one?
Oh, we had a young man in the neighborhood that was drafted. He had a 46. No. He had a 42 here, model Plymouth. 42 was the last one made until the war was over. So I bought it off of him, and I had that all during the war, that 42 Plymouth. And at the end of the war, and when they converted over to pleasure cars, why, we was on strike again. for some reason, I don't remember why. But I went to the dealer and I said, what's the chances of me getting a car when you get to 46 models in? And he wanted to know what I was driving, so I said a 42 Plymouth. Well, the government had what they called OPA prices. That a car was being sold, it had a price on it, regardless of how many miles it had on it. So he said, if you give me that 42 Plymouth right now, he said, I'll see that you get the first car I get in when they get pleasure cars made. So I thought, well, I'll give it to him. I ain't working anyhow, and I'll let him have it. And he had a man waiting there for it to take it out to Lebanon, Missouri. And they got a good price on him out there.
Okay.
So when he got his first shipment of cars in, he called me up. He says, you better come over and get your car. And I said, well, okay, I'll be over there. So when I went over, I said, well, how much do I owe you? He says, they haven't got a price on the car yet. He said, I gave you $460 on the one that you gave me, that Plymouth.
Yeah.
And he said, when I get a price, I'll call you up. So when he got a price on it, why, he called me up and he said, you owe me $45.
Wow, that was a good deal.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you owe me. And every time I went in there for service, they would rib me about getting that car is so cheap.
Yeah,
So, and I did get the first one he got in.
that was good.
So he kept his end of the bargain up too. So there we are.
Yeah, what was the job? It's funny you're talking about the union so much, because when we were on our way over, there was two guys on the overpass with a sign up that said boycott Schnooks. And I was talking to the boys about what it all stood for and everything like that. And we talked
Yeah.
about the unions. And then I talked to them a little bit about the fact that they'd hear you talk about, real life scenarios as to why unions were formed. But I remember the one story you were talking about, that there was just a line of guys outside waiting for a job. And,
Always at General Motors there was always men standing out at the gate waiting for somebody to call in, or they want somebody.
Sure.
We was making 100 cars an hour.
Wow.
And if you couldn't keep up with the line, they'd get rid of you and they'd go out to the gate and get somebody else in, because that line was going to keep moving.
Right.
And you had to do your operation on that body. We was called Fisher body. Fisher was the name of bodies in them days. They made the body there, and then it went on the car, and it was a Chevrolet. But if you couldn't keep up on your part of the deal, well, then they just go out and get somebody else. And they'd come around with a stopwatch and they'd time everybody on how long it was taking them to do what they were doing. So,
What year do you think that was?
yeah, I started there in 35,
Okay.
1935, October.
So at that point, was the country starting to recover from the Depression? Is that?
And the way I understood the story was they were selling cars so fast that some of the soldiers from World War I in some of the other states was getting some sort of a pension or something,
Yeah.
and that they had enough money to buy a car. So they were selling cars like hotcakes in
Sure.
them days.
High demand.
Yeah.
Were you
So-
in a union then?
No, in 37 was when we went on strike and brought the union in. It wasn't union when I went to work there in 35. Yeah. So,
You know, it's funny you say that. This is a little bit of a shift, but you said stopwatch.
Yeah.
And before I came over, Lisa found this in the basement, and I'm glad she did. This is a timepiece. I don't know if you remember this, but you gave this to me. And it says it's a sales award in 1933 from Frigidaire to F.G. Nicolay.
yeah, that was
So-
my uncle.
So what's the story on this?
He was working for Frigidaire then,
Huh.
and he was selling refrigerators. And he must have been pretty good at it because that's how come he. I know. Yeah. It still runs too.
Yeah, I think I probably have to look at it. Let me see if that focuses. There you go.
Won't be long, and that'll be 100 years old.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a Hamilton, isn't it?
Yes, good memory. Hamilton. Says it right there.
Yeah.
FG. What was his name?
Francis. I
Francis.
don't know what the G was.
Francis Nicolay.
Nicolay. Yeah. That was on my mother's side.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So, what about your parents? That's something I've never really known a lot about.
I didn't either. My grandparents were dead when I was born,
Well-
on my dad's side.
So your grandparents you didn't know much about, but your parents.
Oh,
Your parents.
well, my mother died in, I don't know what year that was, do you?
You got better
We
memory
we
than
went
I
out
did.
there, I know.
Yeah.
My mother was 93 then, I don't know where she was born. My dad was 85. He died in 71,
Okay.
yeah.
So your dad lived to 85 and your mom lived to 93.
Yeah, but she had Alzheimer's for the last 10 or 12 years.
Right.
She was in a nursing home.
Still, that's a long life considering when she was born.
Yeah.
And they originally lived in St. Louis,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then
My
when
dad,
did they move to California?
but they moved to California because my brother, I had a brother that was 4 years younger. And when he was drafted, he had just finished a 4-year with a
That whole,
dental lab, learning a trade. And lo and behold, they needed dental neck technicians. So in the Army, they put him in a place in California that took care of that. And when when the war was over, why some of his higher ups there were dentists in California, and they told him they wanted him to come out there and do their work for him. So he was only home 3 weeks, and he went back to California. And they set him up in business. Told him they would pay us back whenever you get the business going good, which he did. And so my father, when he retired in 51, why, they decided to go out there because he needed somebody to do delivery work and pickup work. So he went out there. California was nice weather all the time, so they lived in California. That's why they went to California. And that's why he went there. And later on, my uncle that watch belonged to, he moved to California too. He had a business downtown that wasn't too good, and he just stayed in California. I
And
think
he played in bands when he was in St.
when
Louis.
he was
didn't
younger, he played in a band. Yeah.
The
A
travel?
traveling band. They played at the Coronado Hotel a lot here on Linville. And they traveled throughout the country. They even went to Mexico. And when they came back from Mexico, they brought a pair of Mexican Chihuahua dogs. And my brother and I got the first puppy.
You know what? Don't we have a picture? I think we do.
Yeah.
There's a still picture of
There is, of
you
the
and your
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was that, huh?
yeah.
You couldn't go near your mother.
Huh?
You
No,
couldn't go near your
no, you couldn't go near my mother when she was sitting in a chair and the dog was on her lap. The dog would bite you.
Neil said that was the meanest dog.
And every time my dad went to work, she'd chase him all the way to the door. Yeah.
I don't know if Kevin's ever heard the story of the house that you built.
Well, I'd rather not.
Do you remember?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Oh, okay. I just thought maybe they'd like to go by sometime and see where it is.
I thought you did that.
I did, but I don't remember the address anymore.
Well, I don't either.
Oh, okay,
I don't either. That was a mistake.
okay. But you did a good job on it.
Yeah. I shouldn't have undertaken that job.
Didn't make any money on it.
Never made any money on it. Made $800 on it. Because right after I started building it, the prices on everything went up. And I had only borrowed so much money to cover it. And it wasn't enough, so I had to borrow some more money
Yeah.
to finish it.
So after you worked at the Fisher Body plant, then where did you go? You didn't start at the gas company right after that,
I
did you?
went to the metalware factory. What is that? Adams Metalware Factory. And that's where I met Harold. That was her wife,
Okay.
her husband. I met him there.
Okay, you worked together.
Yeah, we worked together for about 8 years there, and then we both quit and went back to the small arms. They have opened that up again.
Oh.
And so I quit one day and he quit the next.
Okay.
We went together out there at Small Arms for a while until they closed that again. But they closed that second time, it stayed closed. I don't know why they started it up again. But that's how come we got to know each other. Because I worked with Harold there.
Right. And then you went on trips together and
We went on trips together and
built a boat
built a boat together.
in the garage.
Yeah.
Painted cars.
We painted cars on the weekend.
And sold chimney covers.
And made chimney covers and sold them.
That was when you could go door to door and sell things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
We sold them so cheap, I think we should have got more than we did for them. We sold them so cheap that everybody would buy them.
Yeah.
We sold them a chimney cover for $6 and put it up.
Oh wow.
And I'm sure we could have got more for them.
Sure. So what do you mean a chimney cover? Like what was it made of?
Aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'd build houses without them typically, and then you'd need to.
Well, when they built houses years ago, they never put a chimney cover on them.
The chimney would be
When it
open.
rained, it always went
Would it
down
go
the
in?
chimney.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now you see chimney covers on almost every house.
Right, now they're automatically put on when they build
Yeah.
a house,
Yeah.
but they didn't back then.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound very smart.
Hmm?
Doesn't sound very smart.
But we worked together for about 10 years, Harold and I. Then Harold went to work for the Board of Education.
He wanted you.
Huh?
He asked you.
Yeah, he wanted to know if I wanted a job there, and I'd already went to the gas company,
Okay.
so I didn't want to give that up. I was tired of getting laid off at the auto plant. There was one time I was laid off for 2 years.
Holy cow.
Cars just weren't selling anymore.
Right.
And then in 1940, I went back to work for him again. So,
How long did you work at the gas company?
26 years,
And then that's where you retired from, right?
yeah.
What year did you retire?
Yeah,
What year did you retire?
in 1980.
1980. So that's 5.
So you've been retired a long time.
You didn't try.
Longer than I worked,
Yeah. 37 years now.
yeah.
So what's some of your favorite memories of childhood, aside from making and flying kites? Or what was it maybe like a typical day like when you were a kid?
I don't know, in them days we had to make up games. You had to make them up too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you say that as Charlie sits here and plays a game on my phone, and you're over there on your phone playing a
Right.
game.
Well, the one game was called Tippy.
Tippy?
Tippy, yeah. That's a St. Louis game.
Oh.
It's a block of wood about 4 inches long, and you shave each end down like a pencil point, and then you had a stick, just any old stick, could be a broomstick, and you'd hit it, and when you'd hit to the end of the piece of wood, it would fly up, and you'd swat it and see how far you could hit it, and then you give the other person so many jumps to make it in. Now that was a game made up,
I'd say so.
but
Sounds like fun though.
it was called Tippy, and
Tippy.
people who was in my age probably all remember Tippy. And you always had horseshoes and marbles.
Was it cart ball?
Cart ball, that's another St. Louis game.
Is it?
Yeah, cart ball is. Yeah, you'd get a round piece of cork and put tape around it. And later on, they finally made cart ball covers like baseball covers. But I think that was another St. Louis game, cart ball.
Played bottle caps too.
Played bottle caps. You throw bottle caps and swat at them with a broomstick.
You guys hear that?
But it kept you busy all day long
Yeah,
in the summer.
we didn't know what the word bored is, did we? You hear kids say, "Oh, I'm bored." Oh, we never knew the word bored. We always found something to do. Yeah.
What else do we want to know?
I don't know. Certainly a lot of time between 1916 and 2017.
Yeah.
I was looking at these questions earlier. Let me look at them again real quick.
Well, after I met Harold, and I met Laverne, come to find out that I lived in a 3700 block of Pennsylvania, and she lived in a 3900 block.
And you never knew each
We
other.
never knew each other then.
Wow.
And that was in 46 when you got married.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got married in 1940, and we got married on January the 20th, and on January the 19th, what's the name of that place where they're still playing music?
Castellano?
Casa Loma burnt down, and the drugstore below it burnt down on the 19th of January.
And it was
So after we got married, why, we all went up there to see what the damage was on it. And it was cold weather, and the firemen's using water on the fire had a lot of it on the street, and the street was frozen, and street cars couldn't run because the street was covered with ice.
So
Yeah, the Casa Loma burnt down.
Tell him about the time he got caught in the car traffic.
Oh, the time I got caught in the car tracks. Yeah, there was a play on Lindell at the St. Louis University has a show place there. And we went to see this play. And while we was in there, we had freezing rain outside. So you might know what happened. We had a hard time getting the car out to Grand Avenue, and when I got on Grand Avenue, well, my wheels fell into the car tracks.
Oh.
And I couldn't get them out until I got all the way down to Merrimack Street where the car turned around. I finally got out of the car tracks.
You were lucky a streetcar wasn't coming along.
Well, they'd have had to wait, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I noticed we were down off of Delmar a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed they were doing. What's up with that project down there? They're putting
Yeah.
streetcars in.
Oh yeah, they're running them from the Loop to the art museum.
To the history museum.
are they running them yet, or what?
No, they're
Not
still
yet.
working on it.
Okay, so nothing. It's not like it got defunded or anything like that. It's still a work in progress.
It's still a work in progress.
Barb said the guy that owns that deal owns several places of business in Duluth.
I think he might own Blueberry Hill.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and he also owns a hotel down there.
Yeah.
Moonrise Hotel.
He owns several places, Barb said. So,
Yeah, these guys. Well, heck, I've never seen a streetcar.
Right.
well,
Do you guys know what a streetcar is? Basically, a train that would go down the middle of the street. It was used as public transportation, right?
yeah, they could put 100 people on a streetcar.
Yep.
Some of them standing.
Was it
when they-
run by what?
Electric.
Okay.
They had wires overhead and there's trolley.
But the ones they're building, the one they're building to use in the loop, is that gonna be electric?
Yeah,
That,
as far as I know it is.
That one on Chippewa,
Yeah,
the dinky down on Chippewa.
yeah, well, they wouldn't know what that was.
They,
replaces
it went down and then
Not
came back. The same one, the guy that was driving it would
Yeah,
walk to
between
the
Grand
other-
Avenue and Broadway, there was a car, a dinky, we called it. And they only took you from Grand Avenue to Broadway to connect you with another line. When we had streetcars. And when they get at the end of the line, they just move the back of the seat the other way and
electric up there.
go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
So the power would come down from the electrical lines above, right?
Above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm showing Charlie a picture of what it used to look
I
like.
think the electric lines are up.
The power would be what propelled the train cars, streetcars they call them, and then there's tracks that are buried into the street. So as soon as they get the one finished in down on the loop, they'll take you down there. We can ride on them.
Yeah.
They probably still do this out in San Francisco.
Oh, they do.
The nostalgia.
There's a lot of places.
Or Tennessee.
New Orleans has got a streetcars down there
Oh,
that
yeah.
takes you for about 10 miles
Right.
in New Orleans.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite memories of childhood vacations or places you've been?
Well, we went to Chicago when they had a World's Fair in '33, I think it was. No, not '33. It was after the war. What was I saying?
The Chicago World's Fair.
Oh, yeah, we went to the Chicago World's Fair. And then when they had one in Dallas, we went to a Dallas World's Fair. Yeah. My father had a car from the time I could remember on. He was never without a car. So we drove to Chicago and we drove to Dallas.
That was when it was 2-lane roads.
Wow.
Yeah.
No interstate system, right?
No,
We took Bill Freund with us when we went to Dallas.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is he in that Bill Freund, is he in the prisoner of war camp?
Yeah, he was in the same prisoner of war camp that Harold was. Yeah, Harold was in prisoner of war camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Germany.
We're talking World War II, right?
Yeah.
In Germany.
In Germany.
You and him corresponded all during the war when he was in.
Until then, and they listed him as missing. He was in work. He was.
okay, let me
Wow.
go.
And finally, they found out he was a prisoner.
How long was he a prisoner of war?
Put on this.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I don't think it was too long before the war.
Really?
And then the Germans just walked away and just left them there. And they had
She
them,
should be on this picture.
and they
Hold on 1 second.
Now you can tell your story.
There we go.
I don't have one that's like you do.
Well, I can't help that.
And
So you-
they just left them there, and they had to find the American soldiers so they could get back here.
So they just walked away and then,
Just left them there.
wow.
They had to walk and find where the Americans were.
And you can tell him about, he had to go to Fort Leonard Wood, didn't he? When he got back here to the States.
Yeah. I thought they'd get out. That would be the end of it for them. But they threw a party in Little Rock,
No, Hot Springs.
Hot Springs, for all the prisoners of war. Married couples went to one hotel and single went to another hotel.
Oh, yeah.
But, and I thought that would be the end of his army career. But I had to come home by myself, and he had to go to Fort Leonard Wood, and he didn't get out of the service until November. So,
I bet that wasn't very fun.
hmm,
I bet that wasn't much fun.
oh,
Well, she's right. They should have left him go right away.
Yeah. of course.
Prisoner of war, they should have left him go right away.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
but they took it to Fort Leonard Wood. I guess he was an MP down there.
So what was it like when you would correspond via, I assume it was written letters, right?
Email.
Yeah.
And if he'd write something that he shouldn't, it was scratched out.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So people would go through it and look to see what was written back?
Yeah.
What would would the letters,
Mine from me didn't make any difference. I didn't know what was going on over there. But if he'd say they were moving to a different spot or something.
Oh.
I was gone.
Did you ever receive letters like that you could tell something was scratched out?
They were little, they called them V-mail.
V-mail?
V-mail. It was just a thing about that big. Couldn't write very much on it.
How long would it maybe take if you were to write something and then it would send off? How long would it maybe take for you to hear some response?
I don't remember.
Weeks, right? Probably?
Probably.
I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder what people do these days, not having to wait that long.
They don't know what that means.
No. I mean, now I can grab that phone and I can FaceTime with Macarena over in Spain,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. And it took quite a while.
Well, you didn't even have airmail then.
No.
You know, Matthew's going to ballroom dancing lessons.
Oh, is he?
They call it cotillion. Isn't it cotillion?
Yeah.
Yeah? You don't want to talk about it?
No.
But it's pretty neat. He dresses up. All the girls dress up. All the boys dress up. They're learning how to ask for a dance, how to accept a dance, how to shake a hand, all those things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
When he gets
Yeah.
older, he'll like that he can dance.
Absolutely. You hear that, Matthew?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear that they were offering it. So you'd think that those are the types of things that are kind of going by the wayside.
You two used to go to a lot of dances.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah.
We went to a lot with Barb and her friends.
Yeah, at Casaloma and other places.
Her friends used to go different places. We usually
We went to a
went
lot.
with them,
We went to a lot of them in Collinsville.
you know.
Yeah.
But
In fact, we went there on New Year's a few times.
you know. I don't think we went to Casaloma too much. Did you ever go?
I don't ever remember being in Casaloma.
No?
No, I don't remember.
You used to go to Las Vegas a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
yeah, we did a lot of that. Las Vegas.
And that was back when you'd go to 2 shows a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd go to a dinner show and we'd go to a late show.
I don't remember you told us one time about what they gave you and the cost of it and everything. It was,
Well, a dinner show in them days cost you $12. So you got your meal and you got your show for $12 a piece. And you didn't do much gambling because people dressed up when they went to a show in them days. The women wore long dresses, didn't they?
Yeah.
Fancy dresses, and there was an old story that they wouldn't take the dress home. They didn't want to be seen at home with it.
Yeah.
But it was fun just to sit in the lobby and watch all these people coming in for the dinner show,
right.
all dressed up.
Florence and I didn't wear long dresses.
No, but there was a lot of them that did. Yeah. You two didn't, no.
And then you'd go to a show after the dinner show.
Yeah, the late show started about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, something like
And
that.
they gave you drinks with that?
Well, we went to a Dean Martin show, and I think, what is it pay? $15, I think it was there for that.
We even moved out of
Yeah,
a motel
We had to move out of a hotel
and move into
and
the
move into
Sands.
that place to get a ticket to get in the show. First they told us we couldn't get, they were sold out. Then we come to find out that we was registered in the hotel there, that we could get into the show, so we
That
did.
was the Sands.
We got 8 drinks and a show for $15 a person.
That's a lot of drinks.
It was the Sands.
Yeah.
The
He
Sands.
was at the Sands. When you was there, you probably seen the Sands, or did they tear it down?
I'm not sure if it's out there.
A lot of those are
Well,
gone.
the Sands was right a little bit, about a half a mile away from the Stardust. Stardust is still there, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Google it.
These are the days of Dean Martin was the Rat Pack, right?
Yeah,
Him and what Sammy Davis Jr.
yeah.
Frank Sinatra. Wasn't there 4 of them?
There was a black guy.
Well, that was Sammy Davis
Sammy
Jr.
Davis. But Dean Martin.
There was another one too.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Martin had that show. Well, he had the Step Brothers.
He had the Step Brothers with him.
Tap dancers with him that night.
Yeah. But we spent the whole evening until 1 o'clock in the morning that we wasn't gambling, we was just at shows. And we did that, we'd be there for 4 days and we'd see 8 shows. We wasn't by ourselves. There was 8 of us at one time. Your sister and her husband was with us.
Yeah.
And another time, Nancy and Jack was with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the Stardust just closed
Closed?
back in 2006.
Oh,
That was the first one we stayed
that was the
in.
first one we stayed in, yeah. Is Circus open anymore?
I don't know.
I remember hearing of that. I don't know if it's.
Circus was near the Stardust. There was a Riviera there, across the street from the Stardust.
Yeah, some lady tried to pick Neil up
Yeah,
one night. He parked the car across from where we were staying. And when he came back, he said somebody asked him what he was doing.
no, she said, you want to have a little
Oh,
fun?
you want to have a little fun? What'd she say her husband was?
She said, my boyfriend is a dealer in here, and he don't quit work until 1 o'clock. You want to have a little fun?
Where was this at?
The Riviera.
That's funny.
I said, I don't think so.
Yeah, bad idea.
Okay, we have enough?
Close to it. What I was going to ask you, what do you think, like from the old days
Compared to what life's like now, what do you think was better back then?
Yeah.
Or worse back then? And
I
compared
think
to
it was better back then.
why?
Everybody was poor.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of money to do anything with, and we didn't cry about it either.
Right.
And that everybody knew everybody on the block you lived in. Now you don't know your neighbor.
So
There
the
was no television or anything like that, so people sat out on their front porches, and you got to know everybody in the neighborhood. You know, that was better.
You wasn't rich. You didn't have rich and poor. Everybody was poor.
That's for sure. My folks were poor.
So you think I think you said that they were poor and they didn't complain about it, right?
That's right.
It was just life, right?
And you didn't say you was bored.
Right.
I really didn't know we were poor till I grew up,
Yeah.
but we were poor.
I think there was better days. People were just as happy or happier.
Probably because they had less stuff.
We had a grandfather that gave my brother and I every Sunday morning. He'd lay change on his armchair out on the porch. And we had spending money. He'd give us $2 in change. $2 in them days was like
It's a lot of money.
$50 today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever they wanted to play ball, they'd come over to our house and get the balls and bats. We had a trunk in the basement we kept it in. And gloves and balls and bats. We'd go to Sears and buy stuff. For a kid our age to have $2 a week for spending money, you were rich.
I bet.
Yeah.
When I went to work for the Fisher Body, I made more money than my dad did at the gas company.
Wow.
And he was there already 17 years there. He started with the gas company in 1910.
Well, you bought your first car when you were 16?
No, I bought it in 36, so I was 20.
20?
Yeah.
Was that the one with the rumble seat?
Yeah. The one I got a replica of over there.
The gold one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I bet these boys have no idea what a rumble seat is. You guys know what a rumble seat is?
No.
What's a rumble seat?
Get it out. Rumble seat is where the trunk lid is. You had a rumble seat. You opened it up, but you couldn't talk to the people inside because the glass in the back of the seat in
It
front
was between you?
Right.
was between us.
So it wasn't open all the time.
It wasn't open at all.
That's a rumble seat.
That's cool.
So you could sit back there, Charlie.
Matthew, you see this?
Yeah,
But-
you could sit outside.
But you still have the glass in the back there.
It's like
so you
sitting in the
couldn't-
back of a pickup truck now.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What was it? 1934?
35 now.
35?
I bought it in 36. $375.
That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
So what would you guys say your hopes are for this guy's generation and beyond?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about the guy that's president either. I think he's a spoiled brat. Millionaire.
Billionaire.
What about you boys? You boys have any questions about what life was like when these guys were kids? No?
No, guess not.
You don't know what it is to fly a kite either, I bet. Do you?
You won some kind of contest, Brian did,
Brian did. I made a kite for
for
him.
Brian,
Yeah,
and he won.
yeah. He won because I told him how to get it up. There wasn't hardly any wind. I said, Brian, he was in the Scouts then, I think. He belonged to the Boy Scouts. And it was over at Francis Park. And I says, don't stand there with about 8 feet of string and keep doing this to get that kite up. Put about 100 feet of string out and lay it on the ground and run with it. and there wasn't hardly any wind out. He was the only one got a kite up that day. So he got bought tickets for a ball game. That was the prize.
Well, you guys can take the keys to flying a kite.
Yeah.
Now you know. You guys probably.
I don't think they'd be interested in it.
I wonder if anybody flies a kite anymore.
I just said I don't think he'd be interested in it.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
I didn't. My brother and sister were too much older than me. My sister was 10 years older than me, and my brother was 7 years older than me. So,
Yeah, you know, that's something I don't know about. So how many siblings, say that again, how many siblings did you have?
I had two, a
Uh-huh.
sister and a brother.
Okay. And Grandpa, how about you?
I had a brother, that's it.
Nick?
No, brother.
Clyde.
Clyde.
Clyde, that's right. And
I don't know that you ever met him.
did he live in Denver?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We came up to when you were in college there.
I think so.
Yeah, he was with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Grandma, what were your siblings' names?
My sister's name was Margaret, and my brother's name was Lester.
Lester.
My sister lived, she died the week before she was 80. And my brother died when he was 70. So, and I'm 93 now. So I outlived both of them.
And tell him what your brother died from.
Lung cancer.
Yeah.
And I think I tried to get him to call a lawyer. You know, what do they call it?
They got this thing on television all the time about if you have asbestos.
Mesothelioma.
Yeah, and he worked
Well, that's what he died from because he worked for a
John's Manville, and they used to blow the
insulation
insulation in. And
without a mask.
I kept telling him, my sister-in-law would call. She didn't do it. I tried to get my niece to call. They weren't interested.
Well, they advertise on TV that if your death certificate shows that you died from that insulation stuff, that even if you died, your family would get some money out of it.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. Boys, anything else?
No.
No? Cool. Well, it's captured. You guys want to say bye?
Goodbye. Good luck.
Goodbye and good luck.
Yeah.